please be reminded to put your mobile phones into silent mode. Thank you. Welcome to the Paralel session A1 room 6, and the theme of epidemiology. And first, I will check whether the all presenters are already joined to this room. Subian Saidi not join. Heni Isniati, okay, Mbak Heni Isniati already. Sri Hilmi Pujihartanti,
yeah, already.
Okay, already. Firdaus Muhammad Yusuf, Mr. Firdaus Muhammad Yusuf, not yet. Mr. Mursid Raharjo already. Mbak Eli Ermawati. Halo Mbak Eli Ermawati. Next, Mr. Sudarno already in this room. Okay, thank you for your participate to join this room. And before we begin, I have to remind you that presenters has around 10 minutes to deliver of your speech, and followed by 5 minutes for the discussion. And okay, first presenter, we would like to Mbak Heni Isniati. Mbak Heni Isniati, are you ready?
Yes, Mr.
Okay, let me introduce Mrs. Heni Isniati. Will presenting for paper ID 1599. The paper with the title Special Analysis of Distribution Pattern of COVID-19 Cases in Batang Regency. Mrs. Heni Isniati, time is yours, please.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good noon, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Heni Isniati. I'm the first author on this paper, with Mrs. Oni Stiani as second author and Mr. Nurjazuli as corresponding author. I would like to present my paper with the title Spatial Analysis of Distribution Pattern of COVID-19 Cases in Batang Regency. The trend of COVID-19 cases per April until December 2020, that coronavirus or COVID-19 is a disease caused by coronavirus which infected the respiratory system. It has become a global health problem because this disease increases and spreads rapidly in short time. At the end of December 2020, significant transmission and increase of COVID-19 case number occurred around the world, and Indonesia is one of countries also face it, especially in the Batang Regency, Central Java Province, with 2,282 cases of COVID-19 and 104 death of number of cases. COVID-19 cases in Batang Regency, increasing the number of cases and infection area per December 2020, it's showing that the total case is 2,282, with the number of villages infected is 209 village. Based on Center for Strategic and International Studies Indonesia, the transmission of COVID-19 has influenced by various factors, one of which is epidemiological characteristic that consists of agent, host, and environment. So this research aims to analyze the distribution pattern of COVID-19 cases according to epidemiological characteristic by a spatial approach. Method for this research begin with collecting data, both primary and secondary, and includes of epidemiological characteristic, both human and environment, and then continue with input data with tabulation and manage data with correction, classification, and manipulation data. And then following by analyze data, and the result of this research is the distribution pattern of COVID-19. For result and discussion in this research, number one, distribution of temperature, humidity, number, and transmission of COVID-19 cases for April until December 2020. It's showing that the increasing of the number of cases in period followed by increasing the number of area infection COVID-19 in Batang Regency. So the number of cases in Batang Regency are not statistically influenced by temperature and humidity. So it is necessary to analyze the existence of other environmental factors that affect on increasing the number of COVID cases in Batang Regency. And then about distribution of personal characteristics in the transmission of COVID, the highest proportion of cases COVID-19 based on personal characteristic, it's showing that for the indicator of age, it's age with adult is 20 until 60 years old, with percentage in 78.7%, it was productive age that allows mobilization. And number two, with the sex of female, with the percentage 55.7%, because female has hormone and the entry mechanism of the coronavirus, so it has a higher potential to be infected by COVID-19. At number two, it's belonging on the body immune response with asymptomatic people, with the percentage is 73.5%. It was difficult to identify of the asymptomatic people that cause increasing number of cases cannot be controlled properly. And then for the last is with the contact tracing record that showing that without close contact, it caused the transmission of COVID-19 is not only caused by droplet, but there is a tendency through the air which cannot be detected with certainty. Number three, the distribution of environmental characteristic in the transmission of COVID-19. The highest proportion of cases COVID-19 based on environmental characteristics are, number one, the distribution of highest case frequency is in areas with medium population density categories with percentage 48.5%, because more dense of an area cause health protocol and social distancing cannot be implemented optimally, and it causes increasing of the number of COVID-19 cases. And next, the distribution of the highest case frequency is in lowland areas with percentage 45.2%, because this area is passed by the Regency main arterial route, which allow mobilization of the community. So it causes increasing of the number of COVID-19 cases. At number four, the correlation of environmental characteristic with the COVID-19 case, it's showing that number one, population density has a positive correlation with the increase in COVID-19 cases. More dense of an area will higher the number of cases. Number two, the height of the area had a negative and significant correlation with the COVID case. It means the higher location of the area will follow it by the lower of the number of COVID-19 cases. Number three, CHLB had not significant correlation with the COVID-19 case because the CHLB survey was not held continuously due to restriction on community activity, which had implication for the space and time for health working during the pandemic. Next, the pattern of distribution of COVID-19 case based on index Moran, it's showing that the distribution pattern of the accumulated number of COVID-19 cases from April to December was formed a cluster or systematic pattern with p-value less than 0.01 and z-score more than 2.50 each. And the pattern of distribution COVID-19 cases based on overlay map, it's showing that the category distribution area of COVID-19 are: number one, low case distribution area includes 13 area on green color, and then moderate case distribution area includes 165 areas on yellow color, and high case distribution area includes 70 areas on red color. So based on the overlay map, the distribution of high cases were in areas with moderate to high population density located on lowland areas along the Batang Regency arterial route. And then the areas with low case distribution were areas with very low population density and located on highland areas where the Regency arterial route are not passed. For the conclusion, the number of COVID-19 cases has the highest proportion in the adult age. It's for about 20 until 60 years old, and for sex of female, with asymptomatic people, moderate to high population on density and altitude of less than 200 meters above sea level. Modeling the pattern of the distribution of COVID-19 cases in Batang Regency with spatial autocorrelation shows that the distribution of COVID-19 cases in Batang Regency forms cluster with a systematic pattern along at the proximity or neighbor lands between regions. This is my presentation and thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mrs. Henny, for presenting your paper. We also have 5 minutes for the question and answer session, as well as giving discussion. I hope you can all participate actively. So, dear audience, any question for Mrs. Henny, please? Hello, we still wait for your question. Okay, is there any question from the audience? So, Mrs. Henny, I have one for you, one question, maybe one question or more. Mrs. Henny, what is the novelty of this research comparing with other research before you?
On this research, I will show about the pattern of transmission and distribution COVID-19, especially about to showing the area with the with the high infection or with the more cases between the other, and so it will interesting to government to make a decision to to more concern with that area with the height of case.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Henny, for your question. Next,
You're
my
welcome.
question. What is the implication of your research to the company or society?
I think it will also for a company. It may be to be consider to make a decision or regularly about to monitoring and evaluation the implementation of health protocol in that regency, especially, and it become one of the way to control or to decrease the COVID case in Batang Regency, especially.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Henny. I think the time is up.
Thank
For
you.
the first presenters, give applause for Mrs. Henny. Thank you, Mrs. Henny. Let me introduce the next presenters, Mrs. Sri Hilmi Pujihartati. Sorry, Mrs. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mrs. Hilmi Pujihartati. Mrs. Pujihartati will presenting the paper with title "Down to Earth Approach as a Sociological Solution, Learning from Implementation Barriers of Maternity Waiting Home Implementation in Wonogiri, Indonesia." Please, Mrs. Sri Hilmi, time is yours, and share your PowerPoint.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I am from Universitas 11 Maret, Sociology Department. My paper, Down to Earth Approach as a Sociological Solution, Learning Ineffectiveness of Maternity Waiting Home Implementation, Wonogiri, Indonesia. A maternity waiting home is a health facility that is considered useful for preventing maternal care. The service aims to be sorry, aduh. Sorry,
Halo,
sir.
Oke.
Ini nggak bisa. Aduh, terputus-putus. Maaf.
Can you share your PowerPoint to committee? Sudah. The host will help you to running your PowerPoint.
Aduh. Ini komputernya agak.
Bu Hilmi silahkan di stop share dulu, nanti kami yang bantu.
Ya.
Pak Patria.
Ini komputernya nggak bisa nih, Pak. Ini maaf. Aduh.
Ini akan kita bantu, Bu Hilmi.
Iya, tapi
Okay, Mrs. Hilmi, please continue your presenting of your paper.
udah naik mau. Udah share screen tapi macet. Komputer biar rusak itu. Udah. Ya. Thank you. A maternity waiting home is a health facility that is considered useful for preventing maternal care. The service aims to be a transit place for pregnant women to get primary health service. Due to geographic reasons, there is a waiting house for birth. There are many cases of successful implementation of maternity waiting homes in various developing countries, especially in African countries. Next. As a developing country, certain regions in Indonesia have implemented the service and imitation of the successful implementation of other countries. However, the implementation is not fully effective. The study explores the root barriers in the implementation of the service from a sociological perspective. Next, research methodology. Research type, qualitative, descriptive, data collection technique, interview, observation, data types and sources, primary data, secondary data, data analysis technique, qualitative, interactive, data validity, source triangulation. Next, result and discussion. The result of the study where the various factors were found that causes the implementation of the maternity waiting home to be ineffective. Using a sociological analysis, the top-down policy of the maternity waiting home is a major factor in this ineffectiveness. Pregnant women said that they were less interested in attending the maternity waiting room because its use will be troublesome as they should stay there first. Next. Result. In reality, the direction of maternity waiting home policy implementation is top-down rather than bottom-up. The maternity waiting home policy results from the central government's perception on the urgency of it. The sociological analysis relevant to the attempt of dealing with this ineffectiveness of implementation is to see the problem from rational social action perspective. In sociological theory, Weber uses rationality concept in this classification of social action. Rational action, according to Max Weber, is human action that can influence other individuals within society. Next. When an individual acts rationally, the one will consider it from the need aspect or the importance of action. If the action is considered as unimportant or there is another alternative easier or equally good action, the action will unlikely be taken. This down-to-earth approach can be applied by using the principle of communication and participating in the implementation of maternity waiting homes. Those interested in the service implementation should discuss to find the solution appropriate to the people's needs. This forum of expressing aspiration is important to make the next implementation of maternity waiting home effective and as targeted. Even if necessary, the reduction of the number of maternity waiting homes in Wonogiri can be recommended. The aspiration of those interested should be understood jointly to make the implementation as needed. Next. From the explanation above, it can be said that the implementation of maternity waiting home is not fully effective because this policy is top-down. This policy is not compensated with the surrounding people's needs. Therefore, this article encourages the new approach in this context, the down-to-earth approach. This approach emphasizes on the aspiration and the need of people as the material of consideration in formulating policies, particularly in this implementation of maternity within home. Thank you.
Okay, thank you from the presenters from 11 Maret University, Mrs. Sri Hilmi Puji Hartati. We will now continue to Q&A session or discussion. Please, if any question from the audience. Okay, Mr. Mursid.
For Mrs. Sri Hilmi, this is a very interesting presentation. But you can say to all participants about what do you mean about the down-to-earth methodology. You can say in Indonesia in bahasa, so I can catch your mind. Please, you may explain your methodology about down-to-earth methodology.
Thank you, Mr. Mursid. Silahkan, Bu Sri Hilmi.
Yeah, saya pakai bahasa Indonesia aja ya Pak. Ini intinya metodologinya bagaimana begitu? Saya kira pertanyaannya.
Ya, dimaksud dengan pendekatan itu.
Jadi pada dasarnya rumah tunggu kelahiran itu bukan kehendak atau kebutuhan masyarakat, tetapi pendekatannya lebih dari pemerintah ke masyarakat, sehingga ketika diimplementasikan program tentang rumah tunggu kelahiran yang sebenarnya itu untuk berupaya mengatasi angka kematian ibu melahirkan dengan menerapkan program rumah tunggu kelahiran. Jadi pemerintah menerapkan program ini, tetapi ketika diimplementasikan di masyarakat, ternyata masyarakat itu tidak butuh, karena ternyata daerah Wonogiri yang katanya itu berbukit-bukit, itu mereka masyarakatnya tidak suka menempati rumah tunggu kelahiran, sehingga mereka lebih suka ke puskesmas atau ke rumah sakit, karena menurut mereka jaraknya lebih dekat. Kemudian mengapa harus ada di rumah tunggu kelahiran? Kalau cuma menunggu kelahiran saja, mending di rumah ketika nanti sudah mau melahirkan betul-betul, walaupun itu dengan risiko, walaupun itu dengan kasus yang dihadapi ibu-ibu hamil yang kadang itu punya darah tinggi, mereka tidak menyadari bahwa itu sangat berisiko, sehingga mereka lebih suka pulang ke rumah, tidak menempati rumah tunggu kelahiran, sehingga program ini tidak berjalan ketika diimplementasikan di Wonogiri, gitu Pak. Tetapi ini berjalan ketika implementasi itu, kalau saya baca di jurnal-jurnal itu, ketika diimplementasikan di negara-negara yang atau di kota-kota yang letak rumahnya sangat jarang dan jauh dengan fasilitas kesehatan, baik itu puskesmas atau rumah sakit, sehingga mereka memang memerlukan rumah tunggu kelahiran. Seperti itu, Pak. Jadi pendekatan ini lebih ke top down, bukan ke kebutuhan masyarakat. Itu saya kira kritik terhadap program implementasi rumah tunggu kelahiran. Saya kira itu, Pak.
Ya, saya salah persepsi. Saya pikir agaknya dan itu karena yang di bidang ekologi, secara otomatis berkaitan dengan ilmu kebumian. Ternyata itu adalah berkaitan berhubungan dengan kelahiran. Iya, saya kembalikan ke Dr.
Okay,
Matur nuwun.
thank you, Mrs. Hilmi, for your answer and your explanation. Okay, maybe any question from another participants? Okay, if there is no question, let me, Wilmi, I have one question for you, Wilmi. What is the urgency of doing this research? Why did you have to do it? Apa ya, urgensi penelitian penjenengan ini apa? Sehingga Anda melaksanakan penelitian ini.
Ya, pengen sebenarnya judul penelitian yang saya ajukan di Dikti itu judulnya adalah pengembangan rumah tunggu kelahiran. Kenapa macet? Kemudian bagaimana membuat model supaya rumah tunggu kelahiran itu berkembang, gitu. Seperti itu, Cak. Jadi rumusan masalahnya bagaimana mengembangkan rumah tunggu kelahiran yang berbasis modal sosial. Menurut pemahaman saya kalau dikembangkan dengan modal sosial misalnya itu lebih berkembang. Jadi modelnya ini nanti akan berbasis modal sosial. Kepercayaan ternyata setelah saya gali di lapangan, masyarakat itu tidak percaya terhadap kehadiran rumah tunggu kelahiran karena mereka sudah punya bidan yang setiap hari mereka hubungi dan kalau mereka singgah di rumah tunggu kelahiran ternyata mereka itu tidak percaya terhadap bidan yang ada di situ. Nah, dan kemudian rumah tunggu kelahiran itu tidak berjalan secara baik karena di situ tidak ada orang yang singgah, sangat jarang sekali. Kemudian yang shift di situ juga tidak tetap sehingga itu kosong. Jadi apalagi seperti ini sehingga masyarakat makin dibuat tidak suka dengan kehadiran rumah tunggu kelahiran. Bahkan mereka juga tidak banyak yang tidak mengenal dan memahami apa itu rumah tunggu kelahiran. Seperti itu, Pak. Jadi mengembangkan model.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Hilmi.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, the time is up.
Yes.
So we will ask for next presenter, Mr. Muhammad Yusuf. Are you join in this room class? In this room parallel? Masih belum bisa masuk. Okay, because the presenters is not yet already in this room, we shall continue to the next presenters. Mr. Mursid Raharjo, please welcome presenters for paper with title Synthesis of Nanosilver Organophosphate and Carbamate for Anopheles larvae Control in Malaria Endemic Area. Please, Mr. Mursid Raharjo, time is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Fahad, my friend. I will present about my research and I will share to my PowerPoint. Please clearly?
Okay, very clearly.
Yes. Okay. My research about the synthetic of nanosilver synthesized with organophosphate carbamate for Anopheles larva control in endemic area on COVID-19 pandemic. We know that during the COVID pandemic 19, that is many activities are experiencing obstacles, including surveillance of malaria in Indonesia. Maybe the symptom of the malaria not be reported to the record in puskesmas or the dinas kesehatan. So case in Indonesia was on the pseudo grade. Yeah. My research is the third year about my nanosilver funding by the LPM Direktorat Jenderal Pendidikan Tinggi. background, material, result, discussion, and conclusion is my my presentation this time. Right. The background is the research. So the additional case in August 2021, COVID is still high. In today, the COVID until 33,900 new case in Indonesia. During the COVID pandemic area, there is the disorientation handling of malaria. So we can explain to you that the act of pseudo reduction case in Indonesia. From the graph in the up of the picture, we can explain the don't write the graph in case in malaria in Indonesia. That don't know the real case in malaria in Indonesia. I think too many problem about malaria in Indonesia in pandemic zona pandemic. The reporting on the activities of all of the surveillance system was shut down about the pandemic COVID. In Indonesia, malaria still until 2000 case, but 46,000 case in malaria. The other problem, malaria is still a big problem in Indonesia and have a target about the Sustainable Development Program will be eradicated in 2030. The problem is the result so resistant of the Anopheles species, for example, Anopheles gambia fever, until 32 and 48% was conducted with the LLN method. This is a resistant. So I have the idea to make the substances to eradicate or to substitute material to innovation material eradicate in Anopheles. And I have an idea. I propose to Dikti and funding by Dikti with nanomaterial for Anopheles control. So my purpose is to analyze the toxicity silver nitrate, nanosilver synthesized with carbon mat and organophosphate. Again, the adult Anopheles, and this paper is again for the larva of Anopheles. So I have to experience about the larva and the adult Anopheles. In this paper, special on the larva of Anopheles. This method, nanosilver material, carbon mat, organophosphate, and the larva of the endemic area. My design is experimental research with post-design control. I was treatment with the several concentration of the nanosilver, combined nanosilver and carbon mat, combined nanosilver and organophosphate. So we can conclude the final result is the LC50, 50, to calculation how and the concentration to kill of all of the larva of Anopheles. The result is I have the control. If the result only the single of nanosilver, the result is with the to eradicate 12% of the larva. Also, the concentration 3.5 can eradicate 8% of the larva. But if the nanosilver was combined or synthesized with the carbon mat and organophosphate, can increase the toxicity until 60%. 60% with concentration 0.1 and 1.5 of nanosilver. From this research, we can explain that the combined or synthesized nanosilver and the carbamate and organophosphate is good material and the new material who can eradicate the Anopheles larva. This is if the calculation of the lethal concentration. We can calculation the concentration with the formula I, which is the statistic model. If we input the I is 1.5 or 50% or 90%, we can conclude how the concentration of the synthesized nanosilver and organophosphate. This is from the analyze that LC15 0.475 and 75 milligram per liter. And the nanosilver and carbamate the same the different formula. We get the LC19 is 2.235 milligram per liter. From this result research can explain that the function of synthesis-driven agglomeration to provide the specific junction to nanosilver. Surface functionalization of nanosilver is caused by interaction nanosilver with the compound and present van der Waals force to surface the nanosilver. Reading the characteristic of nanosilver is have the size until 100 nanometer, as higher head and the high power of penetration to the larva. So the low concentration of the mortality of the carbamate is higher than the natural because the poisoning of the carbamate can good material to make the increasing the toxicity of carbamate. The right picture is the comparison about the size of compound of the carbamate and the nanosilver. And compound of the carbamate until 40,000 micrometer, but the nanosilver under 100 nanometer. At my discussion, the presence of nanosilver and the carbamate and organophosphate can control the enzyme of ACAE and ACCH. Can make the larva will be dead. So the presence of the carbamate can causes the compound of reaction with the ACAE enzyme. This is why the presence of the carbamate and organophosphate can to control the larva of animals. The next research in this year, I used the LC90 and LC15 to apply research in the big area and still running on the my research. My conclusion in the first conclusion, we get the concentration of synthesized nanosilver and carbamate until 2.235 and for organophosphate 0.875. Thank you, Dr. Fuad. This is my research. Maybe the participant have idea to join research with the nanosilver. We can discuss about this material because this material is very interesting. To several things about in scientists. Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Fuad.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mursid. Mr. Mursid is my teammate in reforestation in the Pengaruh Forest. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we also have 5 minutes for the question and answer, and by then, as well as giving the suggestion, I hope you can all participate actively. Please Maybe any question or discussion from this audience? Is there any question from the audience?
Very
Okay.
clearly.
Okay. If there is no question, maybe I have one question for Miss Dr. Mursid.
Yes, please, Dr. Bas.
Okay. What is the implication of your research to your to our country or the society, Mr. Mursid?
Thank you very much, Dr. Bas. This is very interesting knowledge about the nanocell. If my research was success, you mean the avatar. This is the same type with avatar to control with the IDS larva. My idea, I will make the same size, the same type of avatar with use the nanosilver to control of the Anopheles larva. If my research success, all malaria in Indonesia will be eradicated according the SDGs target in Indonesia. Thank you, Dr.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mursid. Very clearly answered. May I give applause for Mr. or Dr. Mursid. Okay, the next question I will ask Mrs. Firdaus Muhammad Yusuf. Are you joined in this room?
Yes, can you hear
Okay.
me?
Thank you, Mrs. Firdaus. I can hear you clearly.
Thank you very much.
Okay, please welcome presenter for this paper from Mrs. Firdaus Muhammad Yusuf with paper title Oil and Grease Nutrient and Fecal Coliform Contents in Port Dickson Coastal Water Improved During the Year of COVID-19 Pandemic. Okay, Mrs. Firdaus Muhammad Yusuf, time is yours.
Thank you very much, the organizer. Thank you, Dr. Fuad, for welcoming me. And I really like to take this opportunity to thank all, especially Prof. Tri, Prof. Fatimah, that's really helped me to join this session because I have some difficulties to technical error earlier. So I missed my slots earlier. By the way, I will back to the presentation. I hope that you are viewing the same slide with me, the front slide of the presentation with the title Oil and Grease, Nutrient and Fecal Coliform Content in Port Dickson Coastal Waters Improved During the Year of COVID-19 Pandemic. So I would like to introduce the team members and our leader, Prof. Fatimah, and another 5 researchers with us. And this is just a glance of people that involved with this project. Actually, this is a big project, but water quality monitoring work is just a part, and the elements that will be shared today is just a part from the whole big project. Okay, so this is they are here the students that involve, our postgraduate student involved with the whole project, and Alhamdulillah we managed to have sampling, even though we still at the movement control order at certain paces. Okay, so this is the outline of the all things that will be shared with everyone, including introduction, method, result discussion, and the conclusion. So for the introduction, well, to now we're still in the movement control order. Okay, and why we have that movement control order, everyone know, because that is the only way we can stop the contagious disease COVID-19. Yeah, so that we stop the contagious disease by stopping the people movement. And we already know as a scientist, especially the scientists that relate with environmental parameters, okay, studying the environmental quality, we know that human works or the anthropogenic activities, okay, are the major contributors to the deterioration of coastal environmental quality. So we have the idea what will be the variation, okay, of this direct effect to the environment. Okay, so reduction of the people movement due to the MCO, or okay, could possibly reduce the coastal water deterioration, the pollutant. So in the slide here is clearly show the area, coastal area, that's really famous for people like living in Kuala Lumpur or nearby Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya. So this is our weekend getaway to this to enjoy, to relax, because we are living in very dense population. Okay, so you can see clearly before MCO, during the first MCO, the same site with this kind of view, and a year after the MCO, where they lose the restriction, or so people start to back to their natural activity. Okay, back to their the lifestyle that we have, and the coastal area, as I mentioned just now, it's look at the data. This is the story of the area. So this is the destination that's about 1 hour from Kuala Lumpur city center. So this place called Port Dickson. So the entire coast here is a Port Dickson, very famous, okay, in Peninsular Malaysia, especially for the west coast, that close to the southern part. Okay, so you can see here the bar chart at my left, red in color, number of visitors at Port Dickson. There's one report stating the increment is very drastic from 2016 until 2019. Yeah, and you can see due to this residing of people at this area, the hotel population also increased, because they can have a better economic activity. So the population size, number of people living in the Port Dickson also increased. The data from 2010 until 2019, when we compare, so there's drastic increment in the area. This one from Department of Statistics Malaysia. And one thing that really attract us is about the information from the hotels. Okay, so most of the time before the COVID-19 pandemic, about 40% occupancy for that hotel during weekdays, and another double the number during weekends. Okay, and it's like a continuous, actually, even though weekend is much dense, but during weekdays there's still lots of activity, especially for this recreational activity around the area. So with all this information, and we found that one data by Hamzah et al. 2011, stating that these are the pipeline discharging treated or non-treated sewage from residential or hotels around the coast. So this is very interesting to study. Either the movement controller, due to the pandemic, have something with discharge amount of the discharge from all these residential or the hotels. So in here, increment of coastal population lead to increasing wastewater discharge, both treated and untreated. We have here by the data for 2011, 82 wastewater pipelines. Okay, and according to the Department of Environment Malaysia that monitor the coastal area or marine water in Malaysia. So India report states that for 2012, okay, ammonical nitrogen, okay, that one is the sewage, the largest contributor of ammonical nitrogen into Malaysian environment. And in the later report, this stated by the Department of Environmental Malaysia, sewage discharge as the main source of water pollution, especially for Negeri Sembilan. So we hope.
Okay. Sorry, Mrs. Yusuf. We only have 10 minutes for presentation.
Okay, so we'll move the things here. So now I will just this one is the objective okay, evaluate the reduction of oil and risk. So the selection of the elements in this presentation is based on the likely related or strongly related with the coastal activity. So we choose oil and grease, nitrate, ammonical nitrogen, ionized ammonia that's from the ammonical nitrogen, phosphate as well with fecal coliform. So I will move next with the methodology. We know this is just to show that selection of the sampling site based on the information of the presence of those pipelines, okay, in the area. And we did 3 times sampling before the MCO. Luckily, we managed to have a sample from 2020, 25th February and 3rd March 2020, and then 17 and 22 September 2020 for the 6 months after the first of MCO. Then we have the very recent 31st March and 1st April 2021. So these are the slide show all the procedure that we follow to extract or to measure all those elements or this component. So I don't really have much figure for our works because we really fight with time to have, okay. So what I'll just jump with the results, okay. For the results here presented here, let's see what with the box, okay, from the green to the brown to the blue color box at the top. Before the MCO, the oil and grease ranging from 0.6 up to 3,000, and then almost consistent with after 6 months of the MCO. Like we might question why, okay, then we will try to get the answer later, okay. And then a year after the MCO, it's really a drastic reduction, almost 99.9% reduction after that. So highlighted here, all sites that close to the beach, okay, they are showing this high number of especially for second sampling. That's the reason it's highlighted with red color here, because we thought that with the MCO it's going to be the value should be reduced. Yeah, so this one is comparison with other studies, and of course the value we found here in our works for the first and second samplings higher than the Marine Malaysian Water Quality Standard, 5 milligram per liter. That one is for Malaysian Water Quality Standard, but we found also this is too high as compared with other studies conducted in Malaysia. So now with the ammonical nitrogen and ammonia that's extracted from the ammonical nitrogen, so as a basic, okay, it's about 83.64% reduction if compared from the first sampling with the third sampling, okay. But you can see that in the second samplings, the volume is high, the concentration is high. So we might question why. So the same with, of course, it will be same with the ammonia pattern. The second sampling, okay, only 3 sites in the second sampling were found with value exceeding class 2. This one for ammonia, okay, and another 5 sites under class 1, 35 microgram per liter, and the remaining below class 1. Okay, but for the nitrogens, so we don't have a value for comparison with the Department of Environment Malaysia, but we have only value for ammonia. That's the reason why we compare with ammonia value here. So now this one is about nitrate concentration between the 3 sampling phase. Okay, as we can see, we can look at the bottom on our left. Okay, on our left here, all sites at the first sampling or before the MCO, all sites have value above class 3, but in the 6 month, 12 sites. Okay, still still 12 sites, but the value decreased up to only for class 1. And a year after that, we can see the value all sites exceed class 2, 60 microgram per liter. So when we find reference why this possibility could happen, okay, we got this from the Department of Environment. High concentrations of nitrate in surface water indicated pollution from landfill or agricultural activities inland. So now I will move to next slide for the phosphate. So here again, I will attract you with the bottom left. So the value identified from this for these elements, all sites have above class 2 based on the Malaysian Marine Water Quality Standard. One site with value exceeding class 2 and the rest below class 1 is that mean a reduction. And year after, 5 sites exceed class 1 while 6 sites exceeded class 2 and 1 site reaching class 3. So they are increasing in the third sampling. Here, stated here, phosphate is the only nutrient observed with significant increment in the third sampling as compared with another 4 elements that monitored. So we expect that maybe these two things, one, either it's influenced by either parameter like high turbidity or high suspended solid that can also influence the reading, as well potentially or predictably due to the influence of agricultural waste from the inland. So now I will direct everyone to the level of E. coli. Okay, this is an indicator of presence of fecal coliform, that's from sewage usually. Okay, again here, box below left, yeah, two side above.
Mrs.
Yes.
Firdaus,
Yes.
if you don't mind,
Already
if
finished?
you don't mind, can you move to conclusion file, conclusion.
Okay, this will be the conclusion. Is it okay? Okay, so as a conclusion, general conclusion, let me, so because, so certain second sampling, there's a drastic, certain element have a drastic increment because when we check back, because the area is also experiencing like a new booming of tourism activity because of the relax of MCO, as well the good weather. September is a good weather for recreational activity at the beach because the seawater at this area time is calm. So conclusion is a general. So reduction of these elements, especially for oil and grease, ammonia, fecal coliform, E. coli, ammonical nitrogen, and nitrates in the third sampling event at Lukut and Port Dickson coastal water after 1 year of the first enforcement of MCO, indicating that it's also controlling the pandemic has significant impact on the coastal areas, improving the water quality at the coastal areas. So this will be the conclusion from my presentation. Before I end, I would like to share everyone that this work is actually funded by the Subtract OTEC project, okay, and Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia for one particular project. Then this is involving actually our work is a part of the whole big work, and this is specifically for our group 8. So all those references, and thank you for your kind attention as well, your kind consideration to let me join and participate in this session. Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Puat, yeah? Sorry.
Okay.
Call you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Firdaus, for your presentation. We also have maybe 2 minutes for the question and answer session. Dear audience, you may ask some question for to Mrs. Firdaus, please. Okay, Mrs. Firdaus, if there are no question, I have one question for you.
Yes.
Is there any specific condition required for implementing this research in another location, maybe like Indonesian coastal or maybe in other countries? Please, Mrs. Firdaus.
Thank you very much. Of course, if we have enough fund and if we are allowed to travel, we will expand this kind of research work at other area, at the different part of the globe. And for the Subtract project, we involved with Japan, and of course, we know, I mean, like if there is a chance, we will conduct the same kind of activity at different part of the region. Am I answering the question?
Okay. Thank you for your answer, Mrs. Firdaus.
Thank you very
Maybe time is up. Give applause for give applause to Mrs. Firdaus. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Firdaus.
Yeah.
Okay, the next presenters, Mrs. Eli Ermawati. Mrs. Eli Ermawati, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let me introduce Mrs. Eli Ermawati. The next presenters, please welcome Miss or Mrs.
Mrs. Miss.
Miss Eli Ermawati with paper title "The Potential of Three-Dimensional Silicon Rubber Boluses to Improve Radiotherapy Absorption Dosage." Mini review. Please, Miss Eli Ermawati, time is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Fuad Muhammad. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity that given to me. Thank you for Dr. Fuad Muhammad as moderator and all participants in this room. My name is Eli Ermawati as a presenter in this paper with the title "The Potential of Three-Dimensional Silicon Rubber Boluses to Improve Radiotherapy Absorption Dosage," a mini review. The author of this paper are Musdalifah Hesti Anggraini, Eli Ermawati, Hanik Malikatin, Heri Sutanto, and Ilham Alkian. The point that I will present consists of in this paper as in this point 1, introduction, point 2, discussion about bolus composition analysis, point 3, bolus dimensional analysis, point 4, 3D silicon rubber bolus projection, and the last one, conclusion. The introduction. In the first section, I will let you know it is brief about radiotherapy and dose absorption. Radiotherapy is an alternative non-surgical method carried out in the healing process of cancer by utilizing ionizing radiation as a source of therapeutic radiation and storing energy in the tissue cell it passes through. Radiotherapy uses high-energy ionizing radiation to kill as many cancer cells as possible and as little as possible to harm the surrounding health tissue. The ionizing radiation beam is produced by the linear accelerator, or commonly known as LINAC. The problem faced by using LINAC in external radiotherapy is the difficulty in optimizing the absorption dose of the target organ, especially on the superficial surface. The next background is bolus is a flexible material placed on the skin surface. Surface area to provide an increased surface absorption dose. The bolus can effectively increase the skin dose from 10 until 40% to 100% on X-ray radiotherapy. In this picture, you can see clearly the picture of the bolus. This one 2D bolus and this one 3D bolus. Bolus compositional analysis. Bolus making has been carried out by several researchers with various types of materials such as paraffin granules, elastic gel pad, superflap, thermoplastic sheet, polypropylene dental wax, and rayon cloth. The main properly used as a bolus material is an electron density equivalent to water. In addition, the material must be non-toxic, easy to produce, durable, expensive, and flexible. This is the comparison of material used for making boluses. In this table, I will show of 12 research results of bolus making with comparison of materials, method, and result. You can see the materials, the bolus, they are the one PLA, polylactic acid, 2 plastic copper composite material, 3 beeswax, 4 paraffin wax, and the next, the 5 superflap silicone, 6-ethyl methacrylate, 7 natural rubber or NR, 8 polymeric gel, 9 tungsten functional paper, and 10 silicon rubber silica, 11 silicon rubber, and the last soft silicon. Silicon rubber silica is have this material is a little bit special, but because the result has the addition of silica to as silicon rubber can increase the absorption of X-ray radiation. The next discussion, bolus dimensional analysis. For this picture, I will show the differences between 2D bolus and 3D bolus. 2D bolus can adjust phase shape. This is there is still a gap, low level of precision between a 3D bolus. 3D bolus adjusts the shape of the phase contour. There is no gap, high level of precision. 2D bolus, uneven dose distribution on the surface between 3D bolus can improve the uniform distribution of radiotherapy on irregular surface. Besides what I explained before about the comparison of materials and dimensional analysis, we have the result that the projection of 3D silicon rubber bolus. The projection, point 1, silicon rubber bolus, synthetic polymer material derived from polydimethylsiloxane or PDMS. Silicon rubber has waterproof properties, high elasticity, flexibility that remain at low temperature, has resistance to UV rays, and suitable properties against heat. Point 3, silicon rubber as a bolus material is considered very suitable for the organ anatomy, has the desired thickness for comfortable to use, and has no air gap. And the last, 3D bolus or silicon rubber is more accurate for irregular contour than the commercial bolus. And then the next, we get the conclusion that, and it's conclusion, the 3D bolus has the potential to replace and improve the commercially available 2D bolus. Point 2, silicon rubber or SR is a material that shows good properties in 3D bolus application. And the last, previous research has shown the potential of silicon rubber as material for making boluses with better mechanical properties than other materials. That's enough for my presentation. Thank you for your attention. We can move the Q&A section.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eli Ermawati, for your presentation. We will now continue to Q&A session or discussion. Please, any question from the audience? Hello? Okay, if there is no question, Mrs. Eli Ermawati, I have one question for you. Can you hear me, Mrs. Ermawati?
Yes, I'm here,
okay.
sir.
Okay, my question is, what is your future study for developing this research, Ms. Eli Ermawati? Thank you for your answer.
Okay, thank you for the question, Mr. Fuad Muhammad. In the future research, my team want to research the potential of 3D dimensional silicon rubber bolus with actually a basic lab in the dimensional silicon rubber bolus to improve radiotherapy with really research in the lab. Before that, we make a mini review to get many materials can opportunity with to increase the improved radiotherapy absorption dosage. This is my answer, Dr. Muhammad.
That's enough. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for your explanation. Maybe time is up. Give applause for Mrs. Eli Ermawati.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ermawati. Okay, the next presenter, Mr. Sudarno. Halo, Mr. Sudarno. Yeah, okay, Mr. Sudarno. Please welcome the next presenter, Mr. Sudarno, with paper title Modeling of Relationship Between Glucose Level and Age Using Linear and Nonlinear Function. Okay, Mr. Sudarno, the time is yours. Hello, Mr. Sudarno. I cannot hear your voice. Hello, Mr. Sudarno. I cannot hear your voice. Belum ada suaranya, Pak Darno.
Ya.
Ya, sudah masuk. Silakan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fuad. I will present my paper. The title is Modeling a Relationship Between Fasting Glucose Level with Respect to Age Using Linear and Nonlinear Model to Predict Prediabetes. Okay. Now we want to turn out that fasting glucose level is affected by age. To study relation about age and fasting glucose level, the person is diagnosed with prediabetes if the fasting glucose level is between 100 to 125 mg per dl. The aim of this research was to find a significant model to determine the relationship between fasting glucose level with respect to age. The model tested were linear regression model with 2 parameters, logarithm model with 1 parameter, and logarithm linear regression model with 2 parameters. The accuracy of model will be measured using square error and Aka-Ige information criterion. The model is said to be the best if it has the smallest MSE and AIC values compared to each other. First, linear regression model with 2 parameters. This model is I equal A plus B X plus E Y response variable X predictor variable A and B are parameters. E is error. And the parameters A and B could be estimated using partial derivative of the sum square error or SSA with respect to this parameter respectively. Like this as to equation 2, and A equal y bar minus b x bar, and the base model is y hat equal a plus bx. Then logarithm model with 1 parameter the model is y equal ln x plus e. And then we can result A as equation 6. The base model that's produced with no error, namely y hat equal a ln x. And then logarithm linear regression model with two parameters. The model is y equal a plus b ln x plus error. And then by derivative of FCSE with respect to parameters respectively, it result A equal like that, equation 9, and B like that, equation 10. And the base model that is obtained in the form y hat equal a plus b ln x. And then we know about age and pre-diabetes. According to World Health Organization, the age of 48 to 59 years is called the middle age, while according to the Ministry of Health of the Republic of Indonesia, the age of 46 to 55 years is called early advanced age. Diabetes is a disease in which fasting glucose level exceed normal limit. The fasting blood sugar level of the fasting blood sugar level for normal people is 70 to 99 mg per ml. And then we have data with for variable age, BMI, cholesterol, glucose. We take 50 people, and then we compute result table 1. Variable age mean 40.20 years old, and glucose mean 98.14. Variable age is just a predictor, and then variable y as response. I want to find the best model between fasting glucose level toward age. The best model can be used to predict when a person will develop pre-diabetes. Okay, in linear regression model with two parameters, obtain result as shown in table 2. Coefficient intercept is 83.6380 and sign triple asterisk. Coefficient X 0.3072 with sign double asterisk. According to the table 2, it means that the intercept parameter A equal 83.6080. It has sign asterisk. This parameter case meaning that distribution by level 0.1%. And then slope parameter B equal 0.3072 with sign S2 asterisk. This parameter gets meaning that significant by 1% level. The estimate value of two parameters are variable in building the model. the following picture to see the auxiliary model and data description is as figure 1. In figure 1, there are points that describe the successive pairing between age in year and fasting glucose level in mg per dl. The linear line as model describes the linear relationship between level of fasting glucose toward age. We can construct the linear model with two parameters as y hat equal 83.6380 plus 0.3072 times 8. If this model is used to find fasting glucose level, a person can be diagnosed with pre-diabetes at least 53 years old. The second application to logarithm model, we need to determine the value of multiplication parameter. The result.
Sorry, Mr. Darno. Your time 2 minutes again. Your time 2 minutes again.
Okay, that's result logarithm, and then by logarithm linear regression model. By logarithm model, a person can be diagnosed with diabetes for at least 49 years old, and by logarithm linear regression model, a person be said to have symptom of pre-diabetes for at least 51 years old, and then the model represented by ICENIS, and then the best is logarithm linear regression model because MSE and ICEA is smallest. Okay, a person is said to have pre-diabetes if the fasting glucose level is at least 100 mg per L. The best model to predict is logarithm linear regression model, and the logarithm linear model predict that a person is suspected of having pre-diabetes for at least years old, and then a person have and then the person has age at least 51 years old, must maintain his health in order to normal or not high glucose level. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Darno, for your presentation. We also have 5 minutes for QA session. Please, if any question for the all participants. Is there any question from the all participants? Okay, if there is no question, Mr. Sudarno, maybe I have one question for you. What is the novelty of this research comparing with other research before you?
Okay, I want to find the best model relationship about age and fasting glucose level.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Darno, for your answer. Dear ladies and gentlemen, all the presenters have. I think Mr. Sudarno is the final presenters on this session. So all presenters have presented their papers, and it's time for closing this class. Before class closes, we will take a picture together. Please, for all participants, would you like to turn on your camera? Mbak Ekana, can you help me to take a picture, Mbak Ekana?
Okay, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Once again.
Smile,
1,
smile, smile.
1,
Smile.
2, 3. Okay.
Thank you, Mbak Ekana. Okay, for the all participants, thank you for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sampai ketemu lagi
Sukses.
Pak Mursid,
Oke, sukses.
Pak
Dr. Fuad.
Darmo, dan teman-teman
Terima
semua.
kasih Pak
Ketemu
Fuad.
di hutan Penggaruan ya.
Terima kasih, Bu Firdaus. Thank you for your